There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
So as we continuing venturing down this trail that is Jeep Audio, we of course had to make a pit stop at this big brand, because this big brand's pretty heavily invested in the entire aftermarket Jeep Audio upgrade scene, and that is of course Alpine. This is CMA Showcase, and we've got some brand new Alpine product to talk about. We got their trainer, Eric Brooks, in the house, so this is one that you don't want to miss. CMA Showcase presented by SiriusXM Alpine, and it starts now. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this CMA Showcase presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and you heard it right. It's a showcase. That means there is some new product that we're going to be covering today coming from the Alpine camp. Now, when you're thinking about Alpine, they are one of the, original brands that really latched on to that Jeep market. And I think their current offering definitely is a telltale sign of the history that they have with the category and the innovations that they have done. In Canada, if you're interested, of course, you're going to want to reach out to the good folks over at Gentech International, Gentech being the Canadian exclusive distributor for Alpine products in Canada. Let's get going. I mean, we have our guest today, who's the national trainer for Alpine. He's the guy that's involved with all the trainings. His name is Eric Brooks, and I'd like to bring him on and get this show on the road. Hey, Eric.
Hey, what's up, Ben? How you doing?
I am doing good. We are, like I said, for lack of a better, well, no, it is a pun intended, the trail that is Jeep Audio. We've arrived at Alpine. It's pretty exciting. We're on a showcase. We got you here. We got some new product to talk about today. Before we talk about new product, I want to kind of set the mood. We have an incredible presentation that you're going to go through with, actually, I don't even want to, 5 new products, something like that we're going to cover today. Pretty exciting stuff. But before that, I wanted to understand, or at least give the folks listening an idea of why Alpine is so latched in and so integrated with this Jeep market, because it's obvious in your offering that you take Jeep pretty seriously.
Yeah, well, we do take Jeep very seriously. And you may or may not know, but actually, Alpine, we make products for Chrysler, right? So we know the vehicles very well. Back in probably, I guess it was maybe 2014, 2015, we started creating these vehicle specific products. And, so through the years, we're like on our 5th or 6th generation of these products. And every time we come out, we do events, Jeep events. This is a huge thing that the Jeep customer does, these rallies. So we get to have interaction with the consumers. We get to find out, what features they're looking for, what they need for these products. So it really helps us to fine tune the products based around the consumer's needs. So it's really a great opportunity. Number one, knowing the vehicle very well. Number two, having this direct interaction with the consumer to be able to understand what we need to offer for them to get the most out of their Jeep.
Well, it's one thing to see how committed Alpine is to the category, but you continue to innovate, continue to push the envelope. And so what is the motivating factors behind it? I mean, sales has to be a proponent to this decision.
Well, certainly sales are, but the way that our philosophy is we want to create a customer, right? We want to find the customer's needs and create a solution for those needs, right? And something that we're very happy about is the way that we service our customers. When we do these events around the country, and we it's almost like we make friends. They come back time after time to come talk to us and meet with us, and reach out to us on social media. So it's really a great opportunity to create lifelong relationships with these folks through our product. That's the avenue. And you'll see they come back, hey, I bought this, now I want to buy this, I got a new Jeep, I want to buy this. It's amazing the history that you build with these folks. And really there's a following for the Alpine brand within the Jeep community in many instances. So it's really cool to be a part of that.
You're hitting the nail on the head. You're active as a brand with the community, building those relationships, as you say, Eric. And you just came back from a major event. Why don't you tell us about the presence that Alpine had at that event?
Yeah, so we did Jeep Beach, which is in Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm very fortunate because I live in South Florida, so it's only a couple of miles away from me. Or a couple of hours away from me. And so we go up, we do the event. We had a huge presence there. It was like a 40 by 60 foot booth. We have a 43-foot event trailer that we took, tents, all this stuff. We had 3 different Jeeps there for people to view and listen to. We had one of our crazy demo cars with motorization and all that stuff to draw some attention in.
What?
But again,
since when does Alpine do crazy demo vehicles?
That's a new development, Ben. We've never. This is the first time trying that, but it's pretty cool. So we had, we talked to hundreds of people. We partner with a local dealer, and they bring in inventory, and we help support them through this event. And it's just a great opportunity again to get face to face with the consumer. We were able to help in the selling process. We helped oversee the installation process that the dealer did. So the customer feels like, hey man, these guys are with me in this. I have direct access to the brand itself, and we're very active on social media too with them. So yeah, it's just a really great opportunity. And again, you get to have conversations, you get to find features that they like, things that they don't like, and really can hone your product in on what they need.
Well, I'll tell you, we actually have a video that I want to roll out here to give people a taste of, Alpine's presence at some of these events and what this Jeep life, we'll call it Jeep life, is all about.
It is a Jeep life. Yep.
I gotta admit, I'm quite the fan of that robotic transformer tailgate mode truck.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool. We call that Hellbender. It's a pretty cool Jeep.
I think the whole point of that video is just to look at the lifestyle. I mean, all different kinds of people, all different kind of flavors. Because what I've come to learn as I'm learning and going through this process of understanding the Jeep customer, you've got what they call the what do they call them again? The ones that don't actually go off road. Like
Oh,
only go
the
pavement princesses, mall
yeah,
crawlers.
yeah, great.
But then you've got those true,
Oh,
hardcore,
true
get dirty,
off-roaders,
get
yeah,
muddy,
yeah.
and that's great. But when it comes to audio, they're both our customer. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
and
we
that's
love them all.
we love them all. And yeah, it's just great to see. So I know you got a presentation. We've
Mhm.
got some time allotted for you to go through of it. We're talking a lot of new products, though.
Yeah, we do. We have and that's just for Jeep specific. So yeah,
Right.
this is just Jeep specific products. So yeah, we've been very busy,
Yep.
and like I said, we're on our fifth or sixth generation of product now. So
So
really
so a
continue to
level of
hone in on what
refinement should be like pretty high up there now at this point.
people last weekend were pretty happy.
Hmm.
So they
All right.
were excited to see what we had, and it paid off.
Well, we're excited. I'm going to give you the floor here, Eric. And when you're done your presentation, I'll come back. And as usual, I'll have a ton of questions and we can discuss it. So without further
Awesome.
ado, take it away, Mr. Brooks.
Great. Thank you. All right. So, again, we're talking about vehicle specific solutions, and these are specifically for Jeep products. So, we launched two new head units for the JK, right? So we have an i509 WRA JK. This is a 9-inch screen that's weatherized, right? So if you get caught with your top off, it's not an issue. But something that's really special about this unit, this 509 unit, is the fact that it's the first Jeep vehicle specific unit that has wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. So it has the latest in technologies for the consumer with that wireless technology. It also has high resolution audio, right? If people are going to upgrade their sound system in their Jeep, they want to have the best sound they can. So it's high resolution audio capable. It has a 720p screen, so it's very bright and vivid. So when you're out in the sun, you can see the screen no problem. It has this cosmetic that's a really gorgeous fit and finish, great tooling, so the buttons are rich. It has some lighting that illuminates the dash, so it's really clean. And the Jeep lifestyle customer really love the look of this. It goes with the look of the Jeep. It has iData Link that comes in the box, so it has a Maestro there that can be programmed and flashed. All the wiring that the consumer needs. So if you're a dealer installing this stuff, it's everything is there for you. If you're a consumer doing it over the counter, they can do it very easily as well. So flash the Maestro and you're ready to go. That gives us all the gauges, all the information, the information from the vehicle itself. So, your tire pressures, your doors open or closed. What's also cool is you can see your check engine light. So if it comes on, you can read those codes, and you can also clear the codes right from the head unit. So that's pretty cool too. There's a lot of sound tuning ability in these new units, and because we know what vehicle it's going in, we preset the sound tuning. So the 13 bands of parametric EQ per channel is all preset. The time correction, all preset. Crossovers, all preset. Now you can go in and fine tune those depending on if you're going to put different speakers or amplifiers or whatever you're going to do. But because we know the vehicle, these things are all set up. So that's the 9-inch unit for the JK. We also released a 9-inch unit for the JL. Again, 9-inch display, weatherized, wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. It has that iData Link in the box, right? So the iData Link Maestro's there, all the wiring, all that. Something else all of these units have, both the 5-inch for the JK and the JL, they have HDMI input and output. They have a front and rear camera input as well as a dash camera input. So it will operate our dash camera, the DVR-C320R, which is our advanced dash camera system. So those are some common features that the JK and the JL unit have together. These also have two USB ports, one for data and one for charging. There's going to be future updates for these that will allow us to have Alexa control. We can do Sirius XM 360L, which is a new format that Sirius XM is going to provide later in the year. We also have the capability to download Tidal and have it reside as a source on the head unit itself. So this will be the easiest way to get high res audio into this unit. It'll use your phone for Wi-Fi, and it'll stream high res directly to the unit. So those are some great updates that are coming later in the year. Another really cool thing about this unit is we have a module that we're going to sell, and we'll talk about it in a minute. but it has it's a USB module that will give us GPS-based navigation, right? So you can do on-road or off-road navigation right through this little thumb drive piece. So you plug it in, you access your nav, it'll leave you breadcrumbs and all those things if you're doing off-road navigation. You don't want to use that nav, you unplug it and you're back to your CarPlay or Android Auto-based navigation. So those are some really cool features with these 9-inch units, both the i509 WRAJL and the JK. So those are both 9-inch units for the JK and the JL. Some of those features we talked about. This is our dash cam, the DVR C320R that can plug right into this piece. Very easy connection. Not only can you access the video from the front and rear camera, but you can also do the full setup of the unit right from the head unit. You can also view the buckets of videos that are stored. So whether it's a parking incident, a driving incident, a self-recording mode that you've put in, you can access all those buckets of videos right from the head unit. So very cool feature that we've added in these, and it seems to be really well received by the Jeep community because they love to record their trailing. So that's a great feature. Something else that we've launched is this RUX HO2. This is a Bluetooth battery controlled volume knob that will work with these Jeep units. It gives us global volume when you turn the knob, you push and turn, and it gives us subwoofer level control. So it's Bluetooth connected, no wiring, battery controlled, really easy to use. So this is another great piece that you can add on for that Jeeper that wants quick access over the volume and their sub level of their unit. From there, we go to that nav stick. This is that KTX NS01 that we talked about. This is the little USB piece that we plug in. It gives us on-road and off-road navigation with breadcrumbs, longitude, latitudes, all these different aspects that customers need to have when they're off-road, out in the wilderness and needing that mapping. So that's that nav stick. Then we have some 7-inch units that we're launching too. So this is a i407 WRAJK. So if the consumer doesn't want to go that big screen, they don't want the larger bezel, they want a little more subtle system, the 7-inch can offer that for them. So it's the i407 WRAJK. So this is a 7-inch screen. It's actually based off of our ILX 407 platform, but it gives us a 7-inch anti-glare screen. It gives us a plug-and-play installation, much like the 9-inch version. So it has all the harnessing done. It comes with the Maestro module, right? It gives us wired CarPlay and Android Auto. It gives us HDMI input and some sound tuning that we've already taken advantage of too. So that's the 7-inch unit for the JK. Then we have the 7-inch unit for the JL. So this, again, it's based off of our 407 platform. This is the i407 WRAJL. 7-inch display, anti-glare, comes with a beautiful dash kit for the JL and the JT. So really, really cool stuff available in a 7-inch model for both of these Jeeps. From there, we go into a full sound system upgrade. So this is a new product that we released earlier in the year. It's called a PSS 24WRA. So what it gives us is upgraded front sound speakers, right? So it gives us a 6.5-inch component set for the front with new enclosures for inside the dash. It gives us our premium soundbar speakers, the SPV 65 JLTs for the sound bar. It gives us an 8-inch powered subwoofer and a 4-channel amp that mount right underneath the passenger seat, right? All the wiring is included in the system, and so it's a great way to upgrade the sound in your Jeep Wrangler JL or your JT. So the Wrangler or the Gladiator, it's a great way to upgrade the sound. So we also have plenty of other products that carry over a la carte. So you can buy, weatherized speakers, weatherized subwoofers for under seats, soundbar speakers. We have a full sound system still for the JK, which is absolutely killer. I drive a JK personally, and this sound system is where it's at. All weatherized, 6.5-inch components for the front, 6.5-inch components for the rear, a 10-inch that goes under the passenger seat with a mono and a 4-channel amp, all the wiring, and it absolutely jams. So that's a PSS 22WRA. And then we have the two systems for the JL and the JT, the PSS 23 and the PSS 24. So the PSS 23 is kind of a basic upgrade. It gives us tweeters for the dash, that subwoofer, and more power for the system. And then we have the full system upgrade and the PSS 24WRA that we talked about just a minute ago. So we have a wide range of products for the Jeep. They all sound fantastic. and it really gives us an opportunity to do a full system in these Jeeps. So that's really what we have to talk about. And, hey, Ben, come on back and ask me some question, man, so we can go in depth.
Questions for you. Definitely have some questions for you, Eric. If you don't mind, we're going to kind of cover that piece by piece. That was a lot to digest.
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, congratulations on all the new product. The evolution is obvious, and how it just seems like we're going deeper and deeper as time progresses, and coming up with these solutions which are just so seamless. Speaking of that, the first comment I had is, and I don't know if you highlighted this enough, can we bring back up the slide, please, for the new, the very first slide that you had? And this is something that I learned in our preamble when we were talking, Eric. That first unit, the new, was that 9-inch, I believe it was? Like, that comes with, see right there, see something that, when you look at this image, you see the radio and you see the screen. Eric, what else is, like, you see the trim on the sides with the buttons? And
So the full bezel that goes around this piece is all included, right? So it's a 9-inch. So there is some trimming of the dash that happens. And so that bezel covers up where you trim. You take out the factory AC controls, or the vents. You pop those out, pop them in this new bezel. You pop the switches out for the windows out of the old bezel, put it in the new bezel, and that you get all that there.
That is something very important to show, because from a shop perspective, if you want to sell that piece, I feel like either you have a dash in the place or you have a car with it real time, or at least images of the before and after, because it is a huge cosmetic change and ergonomic change to the centerpiece.
Massive.
And not only that, I noticed that there were lighting strips on both sides of that bezel, and that is programmable lighting.
No, it is not. It comes on. It's always on. But there's lighting on both the front. You can see it on the front of the bezel, and it also illuminates in the back. So in the evening time, when it gets a little darker out, it actually illuminates the front of the dash a little bit. It's pretty cool.
But it's color matched to Jeep colors.
Yes, absolutely. Color matches the Jeep. That
very,
teal
very
color.
And then same thing for, I forgot if that one was the JK or the JL, but vice versa. The other one's also the bezel and everything else that comes with the kit.
Yeah. So the bezel on the JL is orange illumination to match the JL dash and the JT dash. So yeah, they're different based on the model.
Okay, the next question I have, I like how you snuck it in there, but I think that was a pretty big game changer. That software update that you kind of just quickly spoke about. There's some pretty big things in there. So first of all, those units are all Sirius XM ready. You can add an SXV300 and you have Sirius XM. Great for Jeepers, because a lot of times in the forest, no radio signal. They're big fans of Sirius. Great. But then you mentioned Sirius 360, which is definitely the latest. Honestly, you're the first source unit company that I've had the opportunity to speak with that's even talked about this technology. And now you're saying
correct.
There's going to be firmware that's coming out for it?
Yeah, so we'll do an update later in the year that will open that up for us. So what you'll want to do, if you're a dealer or consumer that's putting one of these units in, you'll want to use the G2 tuner, right? So it's a SXV 300, but it's a G2, and it's recognizable on the back of the Sirius XM tuner. It'll say G2. So as long as it's a G2 unit, you're good to go. Plug that thing in with this. Sirius XM will work great. And then once this update becomes available, it will be, from what I understand, it'll be an additional subscription because it gives you a lot more interface. It's almost more like Pandora for Sirius XM, from what I understand. So it's pretty cool stuff.
I am getting the training on it very soon. We have a scheduled session with Sirius in about a week and a half, 2 weeks time. So we're definitely going to get the skinny on that. I know they want to talk about 360 for sure. So this is great timing. And it's new. And new is exciting. And on top of that, you said Alexa as well as Tidal. So that's some pretty heavy duty news from a source unit perspective.
I'm really looking forward to the Tidal. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, high def. Very cool. Okay. Then I want to talk about that sneaky knob. So that knob is very inconspicuous until you start thinking about what that knob can do, Eric.
Let's go to
that knob. If you don't mind, Sheldon, let's bring that up for a second. I want to just talk about this little tiny piece, which for me is quite unique. I don't know if it's specific to Jeep customers per se. I think this is a little bit outside of just Jeep customers, right? Because what this does, if I caught you correctly, first of all, it's wireless, Bluetooth. You could put this anywhere.
Yep.
So tell us a couple of the applications, how you see this like really beneficial to an install.
So this piece, it's really cool, right? And you get customers that don't like the little buttons on head units. They want a knob, right? And for several years we've had different knobs that control, the gain on amplifiers for subwoofer level control. But people keep asking, "Hey, we want a knob for our overall volume." Okay, well, cool. So on all our new generation of products, these 509, 507, 511, whatever it is, this will work with those. So again, it's battery powered. The battery should last a long, long time. We're figuring 1.5 to 2 years on the battery. Very easy to link with the head unit. And again, it's a multifunction. So it gives you volume over the head unit, or it actually controls the subwoofer level of the head unit itself. So we're not controlling the amp gain anymore. We're controlling the actual subwoofer output
from
of the head
the
unit.
source unit.
Yeah, from the source. Now, what's also really cool about this, when we were testing this thing originally, I had one paired, and we were like, I wonder how far this thing will work from the head unit. So we're in a convention center, and I give a guy the remote, and I'm like, hey, why don't you walk around turning this knob? So he starts walking, and he had to be at least 80 feet, 90 feet, and it's still right away. I mean, it was amazing. So great connectivity, great distance on this thing. I don't know what anyone would need to be 80 feet away from the radio for, but if you did, you could do it.
Okay, very, very cool. Nice little piece. Then I noticed you talked about your complete kits, which is not a new item. It's been there, but it's very popular. And I just want to go into a little bit deeper detail about just how complete a complete kit means to Alpine. The first question I had is, it comes with an amplifier, correct?
Yes.
And you mentioned that these go under the seat. Do these come with the brackets to mount said amplifier?
Yeah, absolutely they do. They come with the brackets. They come with all the wiring that you need for the installation, the power wire, the ground wire. There's a T-harness that goes up behind the radio, and it actually has different adapters. So if you're gonna put this in with a factory head unit, we have the adapters that you need to make that happen. If you're gonna change out to an aftermarket head unit, we have the adapters to make that happen. So everything is included in the box. And again, so you get all this wiring. All of the speakers are Chrysler Direct plugs, right? And Chrysler Direct mounting. So everything is there. Simple plugs. Put it in. You're done.
Okay, so just to clarify now, do you have to order this kit for a amplified or a non-amplified, or does it come with either way?
So that's where it gets a little tricky, and that's where I'm glad you asked the question. So if you're talking the JL and the JT, so the Gladiator and the Wrangler JL, a couple things. Let's talk about the head unit real quick. So if it has a factory amplified Alpine system, we do make an adapter that you need to use if you're putting a head unit in. Okay, so that's something you want to think about. It's called a KCX F200 INT. Probably won't remember the model number, but there is an adapter. You need to look out for that. Now, if you're tying in the sound system, really the only way to tie in a sound system to a factory amplified Jeep for the JL or the JT, you're going to have to rewire the vehicle because of the configuration of the amplifier, right? It's a 12-channel fully active amplifier in there. Right?
Oh, so the factory amplifier is a 12-channel factory amp getting a full signal from the factory source unit.
Exactly right. Okay. So either you figure out your outputs out of your amp with no wiring schematic, or you run wires to each location. I would choose run
the
wires
latter
to each
sounds
location.
better. Yeah, the latter sounds better.
So you will need to work with the vehicle to rewire to make the system work. So that's if you're doing the full system upgrade in the JL or the JT. Now we have a system for the JK. People make adapters. There are companies that make adapters for amp bypass. So in those situations, it's a little easier. You can use the factory wiring using an amp bypass. So,
you kind of need to, probe and qualify the customer right out of the gate. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like a deal breaker. You need to know what the situation is you're going to. Is it amplified or is it non-amplified?
Absolutely. So I hope that everyone goes out to their consumers' vehicles anyway to qualify the customer. But for the Wranglers, right, the JL and the JK, the subwoofer is going to be in the back, right? It's either going to be on the back right or right in the floor. Okay. So if you see that subwoofer, okay, this has the factory amplified system. I need to do my due diligence to make sure.
Is there only one version? of the
No, so
amplified
there's
system?
two versions actually.
Okay.
So
Okay, there you go.
on the JK, there were two versions. It either had an Infinity or it had an Alpine. Okay, but
Okay.
they both work very similarly. So you'd either have the sub on the right panel in the rear or in the floorboard. Okay, and Alpine and Infinity, they both did it the same. So as long as if you see that subwoofer, you know, amplified system. In the JL, the Wrangler, it's just on the right hand side, so it's a subwoofer on the right hand side. So that's a little easier to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Gladiator is a little more difficult because it's behind the back seat. So you have to flip up the back seat and you really have to look underneath and you can just barely see the subwoofer there. So you really got to pay attention on that one because if you sell someone a system and it turns out they have that amplified system and you didn't quote out for the
Yeah,
true labor that's going to be
you're not going to be
involved,
happy.
yeah, you're going to be in trouble.
You're going to be in trouble for sure. And this is why I want to stress this point for those listening, because there may be dealers who are investigating, getting into the Jeep
Mhm.
thing. There are
Mhm.
things you need to know,
Yeah.
to maximize, your profit, but also to maximize the efficiency of your bay. And
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you're not qualifying like what Eric just went through that process, you might not be a happy shop because all of
Yeah.
a sudden you've quoted a customer one thing, and really there's 6 extra hours because you got to rewire the entire vehicle, as you mentioned,
Exactly.
depending on the situation. Okay, very good.
Exactly.
I missed something I want to go back to, and it just crossed my mind right now. You said that those new source units for Jeep specific, obviously,
Mhm.
are wireless CarPlay and Android.
Right. So our 9-inch units are both wireless CarPlay and Android. So they can do either wired or wireless.
Oh, they work both ways, but I
Yeah.
think that might be an industry first. I haven't heard of another.
That's what I
Can you confirm that?
understand. So we'll see how long that stands. But yeah. Yeah, at this
Okay,
point, I'm the only for Jeep specific now.
Jeep specific, yeah,
For if it's made for it, because keep in mind, we aren't adapters that go together and kits that go together to make it work in a Jeep. These are designed for a Jeep, right?
yeah.
There's
The depth
a difference.
works, the trim works. It
Yeah,
comes with the Maestro. I mean, it's
yeah.
made to go in.
I mean,
Beautiful.
this unit fits in a Jeep. That's it. This unit will not fit anywhere else.
We
Right?
can't
We
jimmy
have
rig it to fit
universal.
somewhere else.
Yeah, we have universal products for that. This is for a Jeep.
Gotcha. Okay. I want to question you a little bit about the weather resistance of said
Mhm.
source units. So we understand the Jeep customer, right?
Mhm.
Many on the nice days, top's coming off.
Sure.
Sometimes you park and go for ice cream, and all of a sudden it rains.
Mhm.
It's going to happen, just like in motorcycles, right? Same thing.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
can you talk to us a little bit about when Alpine refers to these weather resistant, not only in in the source units, but also in the speakers as well?
Sure. So the head units are IP53 rated, right? So splash, whatever. Um, so we don't recommend obviously hosing the thing off. We don't recommend sitting through days of showers and whatnot. But like over the weekend, people, oh, weatherized, yeah, right. So I took bottles of water, splash on the head unit, kept playing, no problem, right? No issue, not scared. I ain't scared, right? No big deal. I have customers that have told me, which is something I did not recommend to them. And I said, look, you're taking your life in your own hands with this, but they leave their tops off all summer. And I'll see them at the next event and they're like, hey man, radio works great. I'm like,
Giving
wow,
you the
that's
thumbs
amazing.
up.
That's amazing. I didn't
Yeah.
think so, but hey, so yeah, so this weatherization thing is huge, that someone is going to invest, this much money into a unit and it's going to be able to stand some weather and not be a boat anchor is big, because when any of these units that you put in, whether it's our brand or another brand, it's an investment, there's money
Hmm.
involved.
Yeah.
And you want to make that investment last. And if that weatherization gives us the opportunity to, you know, take a licking and keep on ticking, as they say, then we want to be able to do that. So it's an important part of what we do. And that's something that happened over the evolution of these products. So we didn't get weatherization until, the second or third generation, because it's
Oh, the
something that
first one
customers.
wasn't weatherized.
No,
The first
no,
gen.
first one was
Oh,
not weatherized.
the first
So
one. You know what it was, Eric? It was just the first one was let's just make it fit in these vehicles,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Just
and
so you
it
guys
had
can
a
fit. Yeah.
bezel and it looked really
Yeah.
cool and it looked
Yeah.
like it was made for Jeep, but it didn't have any of the features that you see today. I mean, we transitioned and went with weatherization and off-road mapping and all these different things that we implemented through the years, And it's just that process of getting to know the customer and learning what they want.
Can you talk to us about the speakers as well, as far as the weather?
Yeah, so the speakers, so it depends on the system that we're talking about. Okay, so the JK system, it's called the PSS22WRA. Everything in that system is IP rated. Okay, the amplifiers are IP66, I think. The speakers in the sub are IP64 or 65. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're IP rated. You can hose these suckers off and no problem, right? So again, very important when you're talking about someone that may have their Jeep off, their tops off. These things can get wet with no issue. So all of those systems, all the components in the JK system are weatherized. Now, the JL system, the subwoofer and the 4-channel amp are not weatherized. Okay, but they do go hidden up underneath the passenger seat. So there is some protection from the weather from the passenger seat.
Right. They're not direct to any elements.
Right. So unless they're going to sink the Jeep, up to the, up to the
I think they'll
bottom
have bigger problems than their audio system.
they're going to have bigger problems than their subwoofer getting wet.
Yeah.
But so those are the things to be mindful of with but if you do it a la carte, all the speaker components in the Jeep kit are weatherized. So that's something that we take great pride in. And they have killer mid bass, by the way. They sound awesome.
Well, the next part of my questions here is we're gonna get into the actual sound and performance of these things. But before that, I should have asked you when we talked about that firmware. Sorry, I'm jumping over a little bit. Just circling back to that firmware that you're talking about. I'm talking about the Sirius XM 360 and the title. When is that coming out?
I don't know. Roughly. It's going to be later this year.
Okay.
Obviously, we're going to try to get it to market as early as we can, but I don't have a firm date yet. So we're constantly working on the. Oh yeah.
This year. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that's very fair. Okay, so let's now that we've learned about all these great new products, I want to kind of milk you a little bit for your expertise. You've been to these shows, you've talked to these guys on a daily, right? From a shop perspective, who wants to get into this, and they're dealing with maybe their first Jeep customer. You want to provide that customer that first step that's going to provide a punch, a pow, a wham, an impressive upgrade, right? What would you recommend as a first step towards that?
So you're talking if a customer wants to do system building, they may have to take it in steps. Okay.
Yeah, they might not have X amount of money to do one shot.
Sure.
Eric, can you break it to me in pieces that I could, grow?
Absolutely. So I will tell you that these 9-inch units, the internal amplifiers are great. They have great power output. They sound fantastic. There's a lot of technology that go into the units themselves to help them have better sound. So I would absolutely recommend upgrading your head unit first. Okay. Not only does it give a great cosmetic update to the vehicle, but the sound upgrade is incredible too. So I've heard, even the base model sound system, once you put this clean power on it with the crossovers and the EQs and all that stuff, it really does upgrade the sound significantly. There's greater output and greater overall tonal quality just by adding the head unit. Now, if you have a JK and they have an amplified system, I will tell you, I have heard no greater upgrade to a factory sound system than that Alpine factory amplified system, adding the 9-inch head unit to it. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it happens, but that 10-inch subwoofer. Go ahead.
Hold on. I'm just trying to follow you here. You're talking specifically about which platform?
So if you have a JK,
okay. You're talking about the factory Alpine amplified system on a JK.
Yes.
And you're saying changing the head unit makes a huge difference?
It's incredible. And customers, when we're at these events and they ask me and I tell them, hey, look, do you have the factory amplified system? They say yes. I say, you're in luck. Okay. I'd love to sell you a full system, but since you have that, if you add this head unit to it, you're going to be blown away. Because the subwoofer is actually going to wake up and sound like a real subwoofer. You're going to have so much more output. It's incredible, right? And I tell them and they say, oh yeah, you're right. Sure. Okay, whatever. And then we get done with the vehicle and they play it and they're blown away every time. It's amazing.
Like they can't believe it's the same speaker.
Yeah. Can't even believe it.
What do you think that is? Can we take a second to kind of brain crunch that for a minute?
Sure.
Is it because is it the signal coming out of the factory radio
Yeah,
to
I
the
mean,
amplifier?
I think that's what it is. I think it's the quality of signal coming out of the head unit going into that factory amplified system that just for whatever reason it just makes it come alive, man, and it sings and it sounds great
Do
just
you,
by adding the head unit. Now,
do you-
obviously, if you're going to change out the entire system with, a subwoofer under the seat
well,
with our PSS
yeah, now you're going
22,
to the next
it's
level.
going to take it to the next level. You're going to
Mhm,
have more control because you're not dealing with the limitations of that factory amplifier,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So you can have, subwoofer level control and all that stuff, where with tying into the factory system, you don't have that. But as far as a sound upgrade, it is amazing.
I got to think maybe it's got something to do with the voltage.
Yeah, it has to. It has to. So
That's interesting.
so that's a great upgrade. And then, when you do, if you have a JL or a JT, the Wrangler or the Gladiator, same story. If you have the factory base model system with those 4-inch ported enclosures with the tweeters, just by adding that voltage output with the crossovers and the EQ that we've pre-tuned, man, it is a killer upgrade to even the base factory system. It's really awesome how it works, and then if you have the factory amplified system and you do the adapter that I spoke about to tie into the factory amplified system, you get an overall upgrade also. So it's really cool, and I would definitely say head unit first. Number one, you're the big boy on the block. You got a 9-inch head unit that looks like it's a monster in the dash.
Now, from a power and sound quality perspective, is there a difference in the amplifier section between the 7 and the 9?
Yes. Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
there is. It's not
So
the same.
yeah, so higher wattage RMS, 13 band parametric EQ per channel versus 5 band. You've got selectable crossover slope 6 to 24. It's a whole other animal.
It's another animal, so it's not the same power output at all.
No.
No, not at all.
I mean, it's still a great upgrade. I mean, we sell a lot of the 7-inch, so it's still a great sound upgrade over the factory, and you'll hear a big difference just like the 9-inch, but the 9-inch just kind of takes the roof off.
Okay, so I'm going to flip the switch on you, and we're close to wrapping this up. But so let's say the customer's hellbent, and he's like, "No, man, it's the speakers. I'm happy with my interface. I really want to spend the money on the speakers." What can the customer expect if they went that route?
Okay, so again, we have multiple models that we deal with. So either the JK or the JL, right? So what's cool about our systems is the way that the wiring is adaptable depending on whatever system you have, right? So if you're going to continue to use the factory head unit, there's a T harness that goes into the dash, and there are actually plugs for the speaker connections on that T harness. So if you're going to use the OEM head unit, you just leave those all intact, plug it all in, boom, you get your high level input into the head unit. For the JL and the JT, there's actually what am I looking for? Load resistors in the harness itself, right? So you don't have to worry about adding all that to it. It's just going to go in and work. Okay. And then say, for example, I want to do the sound system, and then later on I want to change out the head unit. No
That's where I
problem
was
at
getting
all.
it. That's what I was getting
Yeah,
at.
no problem at all. So on that T harness that we talked about with those speaker wire plugs, you simply unplug, and then you take the preamp output into adapters that we give you and plug that in for the inputs. And now you have, pre-level out or preamp in, right? So
So Alpine's thought of it all. They future-proofed it, whichever
it
way you want to go.
our product team has done a fantastic job in developing these products. It really does make our life easier. And again, same thing with the head units. It has all these adapters, everything that you need. So no matter what scenario you're going to come across, you have the capability to adapt, whether it's to a factory system, factory sound components, or aftermarket system. So it's really cool how
You're
they've
never
gone.
really stuck. You're never really
Yeah,
stuck either way
yeah.
you go.
But and again, that's why these all of these, either the sound system, the 7-inch units, or the 9-inch units, that's why these are premium products. Okay, because you're going to be able to adapt them to whatever solution the customer is looking for, and we're one of the few brands that take that type of approach to these systems.
I think this is critical. If you want to get serious about the Jeep customer and understanding the Alpine product, I think is going to be clutch in helping you sell it through. So
Mhm.
you can explain the advantages and of how you can grow your system through Alpine. whichever way they decide to go. Sometimes customers, sometimes they U-turn halfway through, like, I said this, but I was
Yeah.
full of whatever, and I'm going to
Oh
change it
yeah.
up. So,
Oh yeah.
and that's just the way
Well,
it is,
and I'll
right?
tell you right now, as far as a customer base, okay, I would say for any dealer that embraces the Jeep customer, right? And they really go after that market, and you create this customer within your organization and kind of go after that, and you become the Jeep guy in the community.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, you've made a customer. As long as you take care of that customer and they feel the love, you've made a customer for life. And these folks are not afraid to spend money. They love their vehicles. They usually want to be the biggest boy on the block. Okay, so they are not afraid to spend dollars when it comes to these units that are over the top for many people. These Jeep customers, they're like, hey, I want that. I gotta have it.
Period.
Period. That's it.
That's it, man. You clean me out. You answered every single question I threw at you, buddy. Like, there's nothing I can actually. Okay, and there's one more, one
All right.
final one before I let you go. It's a small little one. I want you to talk to me a little bit more about that nav unit. So that nav unit is like, it connects through the USB, correct?
Correct.
And that is a GPS-based navigation.
Yes, it is.
And explain to me, who doesn't understand, and maybe some dealers, why that's important for a Jeep customer.
Okay, so many hardcore Jeepers, right? If it's the concrete queen, like you talked about, this may not be the product for them, but that's why it's now sold separately. Okay. If it's a customer that is a hardcore Jeeper, they go off-roading, they go to the middle of nowhere. Many times there's no cell service, right? So if they're using CarPlay or Android Auto based navigation systems, they lose service. They're no longer usable. So what this does is it gives us the ability to have a GPS based navigation that'll work anywhere. Not only that, it gives you breadcrumbs and other things specifically for trailing so that you can have advantages over standard based navigations, right? So if I'm going out on a trail and I have no idea where I'm at and I need to find my way back, and I've gone 30-40 miles off the beaten path, I can follow these breadcrumbs back to get to where I need to go. Also, there's supposed to be these different trailheads and things like that in the database that aren't in a standard navigation. So there are other GPS points available that aren't available in a standard nav.
And that's customizable. You can save certain waypoints on it and whatnot.
Yeah, yes, sure.
Okay.
So you can save your destinations, you can save your trails, all that stuff.
Gotcha.
And we're working out the final details on it. It's going to launch later this year. So, as we get closer to launch, we'll be able to give more information on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks really cool. And this is, we've had off-road navigation in our units before. So, we've seen the benefit of this, and we're going to implement that into this unit.
Again, the reason I bring it up, Eric, is if you're a dealer and you're qualifying your customer and you go outside and look at his Jeep and there's mud tires on it and it's dirty, you might want to bring up that there's this cool nav piece, blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
why I want to bring that up.
And here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Here, just real quick, Jeepers love that dash cam solution too.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you. I mean, dash cams aren't new. Dash cams are quite plentiful. But why do Jeepers like that dash cam?
So this dash cam, because it ties directly into the head unit and you can fully control it right from the head unit, just the simplicity and the way that it works really ties itself together. And they kind of like the Alpine brand,
So stick with it.
Not to sound over the top.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to have that unit, you're going to spend that kind of money on that source unit, and if you want a dash cam, why would you not buy the Alpine one that fully integrates and have all these full features that you can control from your screen, front and rear camera, picture in picture, so on and so forth?
Yep, exactly.
It just makes sense. It just absolutely makes sense.
Yep.
On that note, Eric, I can't thank you enough, man. That was really, really educational. You went above and beyond, not just the product, but a lot of insightful information about the Jeep customer and the scene and the community, and some really, really interesting advice for shops that might want to get into this stuff. So I want to thank you for coming in today.
Sure thing, Ben. Thanks for having me on.
We'll see you soon enough. Take care, Mr. Brooks.
All right. Thanks.
That was Mr. Eric Brooks. He's the product trainer for Alpine, coming in and giving us a schooling on what's going on with Jeeps and Alpine, some brand new product. I want to remind you guys, if you're interested in Alpine products and you happen to be in Canada, you might want to reach out to the good folks at Gen Tech International. You've seen their numbers come up before. Get a hold of them. You want to be an Alpine dealer, they can set you up. All right. That was it. Wow. that was heavy duty. I learned a lot today. I hope you guys did as well. Let's see. I want to remind you to continue tuning in. Well, actually, before you continue tuning in, tomorrow night is a big night. Tomorrow night, we are going live with CMA Live, and it's all about Jeeps and trucks. We are featuring count them, 6 of the top brands within the segment. We're going to be talking about audio. We're going to be talking about lighting, accessories, and more. Join us at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow evening for CMA Live, Jeeps and Trucks. And yes, Eric will be there as well. We also want to remind you to continue tuning in to CMA Networks because as of yesterday, we kicked off the Jeep sessions. This week, it's all about Jeep. Jeep audio, Jeep accessories, Jeep lighting, some of the biggest brands in the biz when it comes to Jeeps. And that goes right through till next Monday, May 9th. Lastly, be sure to log into our new website, cmanetworks.com, where you can find all videos just like this one. You can search by category, by brand, or even by trainer. Hit my man Eric up. He's got Eric Brooks. He's got his own profile on there with all the training videos he's done with us with a brand new interface. That's it. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of CMA Showcase presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about today we're gonna go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?